Our God's emotional, man. He has deep emotions. He's a little different than that Jesus of Nazareth picture we watched when we were young. Get that? Jesus, we bless you. We bless you, Jesus, and we ask you, God, would you share with us your heart in this hour, Lord? Just because you want people to feel what you feel, Jesus, and see what you see, God, that you would take a generation, Lord, who've been so hardened, God, by the deceitfulness of sin, by the perversion of this age, God. God, would you take us, God, even the hardest of us, and would you tenderize our spirits and our hearts? Give us a new heart with flesh. May we feel what God feels, so that we may be with you where you are, God, just to be with you this hour. Do this in us, Jesus. Take the hardest generation you ever had, Jesus. This is your favorite thing to do, is take the hardest things and make them soft, and to give them and deposit into them what you feel. Do it in us, God. Take us where we cannot go, God. Take us where we cannot go, God. Our God's emotional, man. He has deep emotions.
Bought into this lie. Religion has fed us this lie that our God is a stoic, a non-emotional God who just stands there at a distance. Kind of like my father of old, or kind of like that authority figure that I knew, who was just always there, and I always knew he loved me, but he never showed it. He was never there to show me. And I and this whole generation, we bought into this lie. We've bought into this lie that our God is not an emotional God. Have emotions. Where do you think that came from? It came from our Creator, whose image we were made in, whose likeness we were formed in. That's where our emotions came from. This is what we were made for. We were made to experience God, to experience the emotions of God, to experience the heart of God. You can see it in Genesis 1:26. He says, "Let us make man in our image and according to our likeness." What is that all about? What was in the heart of God from eternity past? The God who never needed anything, who spoke and the worlds were, who spoke and the seas found their boundaries, who spoke and the mountains were created, never needed anything, but there's been a desire in his heart. There's been a longing in God's heart, and that is for man to encounter and experience who he is, and from that place have dominion. What was it like in the garden, undefiled by sin, unhindered by sin? What was it like for Adam? Adam had these eyes to see God, ears to hear God, hands to touch God, a nose to smell God, and a mouth to taste and see God. What was it like? And that is what was given in the garden. That is the original desire of God. That's been the original plan of God, is that man would know God, by experience would know God. God has burnt every bridge. God has torn out every hindrance so that man would encounter God. We have just been convinced of an emotionless religion. And we think it's actually more faith if you have less emotions. And we just tend to think it's just fanatical like that. That is a lie out of the pit of hell. God is an emotional God, and He loves emotions. He draws us into these things like that, and it's not secondary, but I tell you, it is our inheritance, is to feel what God feels. And that's where the understanding comes in. That's where the supernatural revelation comes in, is where we begin to know by experience what is the love of Christ. Look at it, John 17:24. Father, I desire for those that you've given me. I want them to be with me where I am. I want them to be with me. This is not some passive, it'd be nice if they could come over and stay at my house for a little bit. No, I want them with me, yoked to me, lost in my heart, lost in my emotions, lost in my passion. And from this place they pray, from this place they live, from this place they give, from this place they lose themselves. This is about fellowshipping with God. In John
17:3. Oh, this is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you've sent. Eternal life isn't just about after we die and when we move on to the next life. No, eternal life and the quality of eternity is found in the experience, in the knowing of God and His only Son, Jesus Christ. This is eternal life. This is eternal life is when we know. This is eternal life when we taste. This is eternal life is when we see. This is eternal life when we hear. This is eternal life when we touch. This is eternal life when we smell the fragrance of God. This is what we're made for, to experience the emotions of God, to taste the emotions of God, to encounter the emotions of God, and from that encounter to be transformed into His likeness, to be renewed in the image of our Creator, to be restored into the image of our Creator, to be transformed into the image of our Creator. But this is our destiny. This is the eternal desire, and it will be fulfilled.